Hello, my name's Simon Jacobs. You are extraordinarily welcome. And we're going to be discussing a couple of things in this episode. I'm going to go back to a quick chat I was having last time round in episode 138, and this is episode 139, about Girls Aloud, strangely enough, because I saw a really interesting article in the paper, and I just want to share with you that they were, I guess, agreeing with some of the things I wanted to say about Girls Aloud. And then I want to talk about Spotify Wrapped, which, if you are a Spotify for Artists artist, I'm guessing you will have had your own Spotify Wrapped by now. And if you're not a Spotify artist, well, I'll explain what this rather strange thing is that takes up lots and lots of Spotify's energy and attention at this time of the year. Let's start with Girls Aloud, shall we? I talked last week about how they were going to be doing a big UK tour in 2024, and I was saying that basically, they're one of the good girl bands of, well, ever really, because I've always liked them more than the Spice Girls. And my reason for thinking that they deserved a kind of special mention is basically the quality of the songwriting and the production that pretty much stayed consistent throughout the kind of 10 years of Girls Aloud glory. And then I found an article in The Guardian, which was basically saying a lot of the very same things. I just want to just share a couple of things that The Guardian said, just because it says what I was trying to say last week, but obviously it's The Guardian, so it says it in a slightly more eloquent and excitable way than maybe I did last week. This is a journalist called Hannah Jane Parkinson. She says Girls Aloud are back and pop will be better and weirder for it. And her point about weird is also a really good one. I mean, some of the songs that were, put together for them and then latterly with their input, they're quite strange pop songs. If you go back and listen to, I didn't mention it last week, go back and listen to Biology, as I did just the other night. It's madness. It really is. It's just got strange chunks of song that shouldn't in any way sit together as part of the same track. They're bits of song that you'd expect not to even know each other, but there they are sitting next to each other, and it kind of works because there's just a sort of enthusiasm to make it work, and it does. And what Hannah Jane Parkinson says is the girls' group reunion tour will bring back one of the most distinctive bodies of work in British pop history. I agree with that, with genius production and genuinely excellent singing. Now, maybe she rates the singing quality a little better than I did, and I don't look. I'm not here to slag them off and demean them, but really, I always felt it was the songwriting and the production that made them stand out. But they did have their thing. They did have charisma. They did have something that made them, I think, authentic is probably the most important thing. Made them feel like here was a bunch of girls you could go for a drink with and you'd have a fine evening. Nothing pretentious, and nothing got pretentious during the years of their success. They didn't massively change. They were just what they were, and it was good. So she says, along with the Shangri-Las and the Runaways, Girls Aloud are one of the greatest girl bands of all time. I totally get that. And rather like me, she says that, she didn't quite get the Spice Girls, but she really got this lot. Then she talks a little bit inevitably about, how this TV program was put together back in 2002. And there was a definite sense that the boys were supposed to win because boy bands sort of just did. There were more boy bands and I suppose there always have been more boy bands than girl bands. And really, with the exception of Girls Aloud and All Saints and Spice Girls, what are we left with? Bewitched? I don't think so. So the boys band, you will remember from back in the day, they were called One True Voice. I'd forgotten about this last week. I couldn't actually remember what the name was. One True Voice, horrible name, really, isn't it? And they did what she calls an insipid cover of a not amazing late Bee Gees album track. And Girls Aloud did Sound of the Underground, and One True Voice have not been heard of or seen since. So once again, I'll just say, if you know where any of One True Voice are, let me know. I'm a little worried about them. So that's quite quite interesting. Then finally, I just want to say that there's what this article did for the Guardian is also point me in the direction of a top 10 of the the best of Girls Aloud that had been put together actually a few years earlier, but it was terrific. So I went and found Girls Aloud, and the first thing I wanted to do then was have a look at the top 10, and I'm going to find that for you now and just tell you a couple of things about the top 10. This was put together by Alexis Petridis, who is a pop writer for The Guardian. He put Call the Shots, which I really I love, and I mentioned last week, as the number 4 of Girls Aloud's output. And also, even I was quite surprised to see Untouchable at number 12 in his top 20 of the Girls Aloud singles. And Biology, maybe not surprisingly, is the top one. So that's Girls Aloud for you. Bless them. I want to talk about Spotify Wrapped. Okay, now what I've learned in the last few weeks is that this is a really big deal for Spotify. They spend a lot of time and energy, and therefore I should imagine a lot of people hours getting this ready, so that sometime at this time of the year, end of November, beginning of December, they will send to every one of their artists, which is hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I don't know what that number is, but each one of them gets their own Spotify Wrapped, which is basically a nice animated sort of show reel almost of your statistics, and I think it's sort of quite interesting, but I'm not quite sure what value it serves. I'm going to show you my Spotify Wrapped. I'll do it quickly because you can do it slowly and it's quite, it gets a bit dull after a while, but I'll skip through it with you. And I guess my question is, so what, actually? So it will, it'll tell me stuff like how many countries of the world have tuned into something of mine in the last year. It'll tell me how many streams, how many listeners. It'll tell me how many hours people have been listening. It will tell me how many people around the world have I been in their sort of top 10 of artists that they listen to. And that's kind of interesting. I find that, quite weird that there's a whole bunch of people who have really, really been listening to my music. And it's lovely. But here's the thing, you see, I can't get in touch with those people because Spotify doesn't allow that. There's no interaction there. Obviously, I can just say now to you, if you're one of those people, I'm really grateful. I really am grateful, but I just don't know who those people are, where they are, anything. So apparently, there are, I think, 20 or so people who listen to my music more than any other. So it wasn't just me. That's the thing that's strange. In fact, it probably wasn't me at all. Because why would I be listening to my own music on Spotify? That's a bit odd, isn't it, really? So Spotify Wrapped, it's a big deal for Spotify. Some artists, when they get the Spotify Wrapped, they send it out. They post it on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever, and let their fans see it. I feel a bit uneasy about even doing that because who cares? Am I allowed to say that? But frankly, who cares? So it seems to me to be an awful lot of work, and I'm not quite sure what its overall value in it is, except for me personally, there are some aspects of it that are quite interesting, and I guess that's as far as I can go with it. And yet, as I say, it's major news for Spotify. Great. And obviously, they try and build it up each year so it becomes a bigger, more lavish production. And apparently, they're working on it the whole year round, or they're thinking about it the whole year round. But why? Am I missing something? If I am, let me know. If I've just not got the point of what Spotify Wrapped is and how brilliant it is, then please let me know, because The point is evading me as I sit here now talking to you. So listen, I'm going to hand you over to the other me in just a moment or two, and he's going to take you through my Spotify Wrapped fairly quickly, and just point out the highlights if indeed there are any. And I'll leave it to him to wrap up. Let yourselves out, and I'll see you next time. And next time maybe I can bring a bit more new music to you, and we can have fun and dance. But in the meantime, you're going to have to put up with Spotify Wrapped. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye. So hello. Here is Simon Jacobs Wrapped on Spotify, and I'm going to run through this quickly. I'm not trying to, indulge too much, but I will just ask the question. As I say, the question is, so what? It's fun-ish, I suppose. Where am I? Let's go. It says let's go. Let's go. Here we go. This is what we get. Okay. People were really feeling what you do in 2023. That's great. That picture of me from the Strange Alien album. Great. Let's see what we got here. Lots of swirling lights and colours. That's great. So my total listeners for the last year, and almost 500,000 streams. That's very nice. And that is an important figure, but I kind of know that figure anyway. So I would have known that whether or not I got Spotify Wrapped. Where do we go next? The amount of time that people have spent. You see, 80 million seconds. That's just silly, isn't it? I don't really care about that. It's the amount of time it takes to walk from patient to patient. That's kind of cute, but it's, again, yeah, okay, whatever. Where does it go to? Your listeners want to hear your music again and again. That's great. They saved. Okay, now that is a really nice, valuable figure. That is a figure that I can't get anywhere else, I don't think. So it's good to know that music of mine was saved in the last 12 months, 6,000. That is good. Okay, I like that. And 602 playlists is also quite nice. I think the save figure is actually more important. One track made all your other tracks jealous. So which is the number one track of mine in the last 12 months? It was For the Kids. Okay, that's really good. I like that. I like it. I like all my songs, for goodness sake. But that's kind of interesting. I would have been able to find that out elsewhere anyway, if I really wanted to go and work it out. What does this say? Okay, I'm not quite sure what the value of that is. So it's just basically saying that here's a song that I released several years ago, but even in this year, it had 4,465 streams. I wonder, I wonder how much that is alluding to the fact that in the year ahead, they're not going to pay anybody who gets less than 1,000. You see, that's not mentioned in Spotify Wrapped, that they're going to, cut loads of people from actually getting paid at all. Doesn't seem to turn up. It's weird, isn't it? What else do we get? New listeners who discovered something great this year. Your music. Okay, so for the kind of first-time listeners, I think, streamed your songs for the first time. That's 90,000 people. That's lovely. If you're one of those people, thank you. And I really do mean that. Just because I'm slightly sarky about Spotify doesn't mean that I'm sarky about people who actually listen to the music. What else? Okay, travelled around the world. Where to? Lots of countries, 127 countries, and my top 5 countries. And again, look, that's quite fun to know. Completely useless, isn't it, really? Finland, Czech Republic. I mean, great. Thank you, those people. Fastest growing countries. Okay, another bunch of countries. I just don't know what I do with that, really. Am I going to go on tour of the Czech Republic? Your music got people talking. That's excellent. Fans shared hundreds. That also, I didn't know. That I like that. That's a nice one. Most shared tracks. That's great. What else have we got here? The day that more of my songs got streamed than any other day was a day in May. I don't know if that really alters the state of nations. Okay, great. Your listeners have good taste in music. Okay, what else then? Okay, what else? Okay, they interacted with Spotify canvases. Okay, that's great. I suppose, are you a gardener? Okay, what does that mean? Because your music saw some nice growth. Okay, so streams were up 13%. That's useful to know, but again, I kind of sort of do. More playlist ads, etc. Now, I wonder if I have a year where not much goes on, will I just get the same things telling me that everything's gone down? I suppose I will. Right, now this is the bit that I actually do find quite interesting. So 750 people around the world have me in their top 10. That's kind of a bit mind-boggling for me. And I'm extraordinarily grateful to all of them. Top 5 for 247 fans, and top 1 for, drum roll please, it says, yes, lovely, come and give it to me. How many was it? 20? 20. You're the number 1 artist for 20 people. That's really quite mind-boggling, actually. Thank you. Let's zoom out. I think we have a bit of a summary of it. Oh yeah, okay, great. We've seen all that. That's lovely. Some fireworks going off there, as you can see at the top. Nice graphics. I think that's it. There we go. That is it. So I just want to say to Spotify, yeah, thank you, but I don't know what all the fuss is about. I'm not quite sure what I would do with that. Yes, I can share it if I want to. That's what I share it with. So what you don't say is all the other things, like you pay a measly amount to artists, and that you're going to make it even more difficult for artists at the bottom of the pyramid to earn any money next year. So on that note, I'm going to say have a lovely weekend, and enjoy, all the Spotify wraps that come your way. Take it easy. I will be back with less cynicism and less sarcasm next week. So you take care. Bye-bye.